Grace. And I've been thinking about, for a while now, about how little people are being paid these days for the same or similar kinds of jobs that I did, say, 20 years ago. And now this is not a business, so I'm not going to have charts and graphs and, perfect little numbers and everything. It's my experience and what I see these days and what I saw then. If you're looking for that, this is not the place. But anyway, what I was thinking about was a few years ago, I went to, I was applying for jobs in a different field than what I'd worked at when I was younger. And I had been told what they pay. We had to get a certification and all that. And we were told by the instructor who had been in it for many years how much, to expect to get paid. And usually you don't hear something like that, but yeah. Well, when it actually came out to go out there and get a job, they were paying less, and it was a director job. Okay, job as a director, paying less, expecting a whole lot for less money. Yeah, and they also did this thing. They ask you how much do you think you should earn. And this was hourly. It was the director job, management, but they weren't going to put on salary. Okay, they wanted to ask, they wanted you to say how much you think you were worth per hour. And I never trust that. Okay, around the same time, I started getting these notifications for jobs. I applied online, and it was for a different type of job, the ones that I used to do when I was younger. Okay, it was secretarial, office, clerical. I did that when I was a student. I worked as a temporary, and some of them, they'd hire me. But as a temporary, you don't make more usually than the people who work there full time. Sometimes you do. I found that out. But overall, what I was earning then, say 20 years ago, in the 1990s. Say 20, 25 years ago, or more even, I was earning about the same as what they want to pay nowadays. Okay, 20, 25, 30 years later, about the same, for the same kind of job. And I've been noticing this, and I'm wondering, do the millennials, because, these days when I go to any place, it's usually millennials that are working there, do they realize how little they're getting paid for what they're doing? Do they realize that people in my generation were earning the same, if not even more, at that age in that kind of job 20, 30 years ago? You see, I can't say that I really wondered why it was so many millennials, because I knew why. They hired younger people, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying this is 100%, just not across the board. I don't have any statistics on it. But yeah, from what I've seen, is that they hire them because they can pay them less. They don't know that they're worth more than what they offer, or what they ask you what you want to earn. Yeah, and that's pretty sad. It's very sad. And an example is like when I worked here in 20 years ago, 1998. 20 years ago, I did this one particular kind of secretarial job. I was earning between 10 and 12 an hour. Okay, that's 20 years ago. And I moved to California, to San Jose, and that job over there, the reason I remember now is because the job over there doing the same kind of thing was paying $15 an hour. And of course, Texas and the Dallas area versus California, yeah, it's going to be different. San Jose, California, Dallas, Texas. So, and over there it was 15. Over here it was 10 to 12. Over there it was 15. Okay. So, what do they pay now for that same kind of job here? I don't know about California, but here, 10 to 12 an hour. So, yeah, 20 years later. Okay, not 20 days, not 20 months, 20 years later. Now, another example was when I was I had to think about this. When I was an undergraduate student, I did temporary jobs a lot. When I was a graduate student, I did substitute teaching, okay, a lot. And even since then, since I've stopped working full-time, the last time I did it was last year. Okay, and substitute teaching, I'm talking about from pre-K to 12. And even there, some places have after-school programs. I've worked in 4 or 5 school districts. Overall, I used to move around a lot. So, anyway, and now what I like to do, they pay the same. They pay per day for everybody. And, well, then it changed to where it would depend on your level of education. People with less than, you had to have, I think, at least 90 credit hours from a university. It would differ where you live, possibly if they go by 3 hours per class or 5 hours, yeah. But it was at least 90 hours. 90 credit hours in university. Or then the next one was a bachelor's degree, at least a bachelor's. And they didn't pay any different if you had higher, but it changed to where if you were a certified teacher, yeah, that they got a little bit higher per day. Now, what I was saying was I personally liked working in inner city, where I was teaching, doing the substitute teaching, there wasn't really that much of an inner city kind of thing, but I preferred it. I preferred high school, inner city, teaching math. Okay, I started off as a math major, by the way, math and computer science. I learned how to program starting with BASIC. Okay, BASIC, yeah. And so I liked to teach math, to do math. And the reason why I liked the inner city, you had to be tough, you had to be strong, was because they really wanted to learn. They really wanted to learn. That's not saying across the board. That's not saying anybody outside of it, all the people outside of the inner city didn't want to learn. But I found I did work both. And I live in a very wealthy area. I've taught in a very unwealthy, I'm not going to say poor, but yeah, areas. And mainly more wealthy, really. But yeah, the students that were in the poor areas, the more inner city or just poor, they wanted to learn. They did. And put their effort into it and listened. But now there's also a problem with discipline. Now that was different. In the wealthier ones, the problem with discipline there was that they just were totally indifferent to you, to me. And I've heard other people, I know what other substitute teachers thought and felt and experienced, so yeah. And now in more inner city or poor, some of it was the indifference, but some of it was just more, I'd say just kind of, well, I'm not going to say. But yeah, it was just, there was a difference in what was going on. Okay. But I've experienced kind of both in both settings. Anyway, now, when you do a substitute teacher, I remember back then, when I was doing a lot of it, I was thinking that I wanted to buy t-shirts for, the Blue Jean Friday. I don't wear blue jeans, by the way. But I wanted a t-shirt that said, something like, something that was kind of funny, like, don't cross me, I'm a substitute teacher, because you had to be tough, and that wasn't just inner city, but yeah, you had to be kind of tough, and, strong. I would just could say stern, and, but anyway, what the pay was ridiculously low. Okay, seriously. Now, I thought so, but that was, the first time I think I ever did one was, 17 years ago, started substitute teaching in 2001. And now I don't know what they were paying substitute teachers in 2 districts. There was actually 3. They were all paying the same, those 3 school districts. So I don't know what they were paying before 2001, so it could have been longer. But they paid that same thing until one of them started paying more last year. Okay, that was 2001. And last year was 2017. So I don't know how many years before that they were paying that same amount. But it was ridiculously low then. And so they just changed it last school year. Wow, yeah. But really, what I'm trying to say here, mainly in this video, is that some people don't really know what they should be earning to adjust, and what people earned years ago. Ask somebody. Ask somebody who's in whatever you're going into. And if you're studying to do something or you're training to do something, see if you can find out when you're younger, like in your teenage years, that what they're paying then. Okay, I think there are some things on the internet that you can find out, how much they're paying now. But start early and see what they're paying, and see when you actually go out there how different it is. Whenever you do whatever you have to do, how different is it? What are they trying to pay you? Because believe me, they can try to rip you off big time. But now, when I say ask someone, make sure it's someone you're familiar with, and ask them if they mind telling you. But really, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20, I am serious. When I see that these jobs pay so little, it just amazes me. And speaking of another one, these were three school districts that were paying that. Like I say, I don't know about two, if they've changed since then. But there was also jobs that I was sent online, I could get a thing. And they just recently, this one particular place recently made their pay scale higher. I'll tell you a little bit of what I think is why. It's because this area, especially this part of Dallas, north of Dallas, I'm not in Dallas, it's a suburb north of, it has had a lot of new jobs opening up in the past, say, starting back 5 years ago, 7 years ago, somewhere around there. Just a lot. And a lot of places being built. They're been under construction. They've finally finished construction, say, a couple of years ago or more. And so a lot of new jobs, and people, I think also that a lot more people, the baby boomers, I'm a baby boomer, are retiring also. And, they're desperate for people to work. And a lot of the jobs that I've even read about in this area, some of them that they're really in desperate need for is somebody just starting out, or somebody who's just wanting to work part-time. But the starting out is like what I was doing when I was a student. I was a career student over 20 years, between being a career student and actually teaching, not as a substitute. There's no such thing, I don't think, as a substitute, college and university, but I taught at both college and university, not as a GA either, all due to my degrees. But back then I worked whatever I could in between my classes, because my classes, would be at different times and all that. Okay. And as far as more professional jobs, I'm not sure. I do think so. I'm out of the workforce. I have early retired. I'm only 55. But every once in a while I'll do something like a substitute teaching job or something. But I've early retired. And so I'm not, when I was out there was not too long ago. I'm talking like, I tried looking for jobs maybe a couple of years ago to see how they are, and I get those updates on my phone all the time. Yeah, I'm shocked by what little they want to pay. In 20 years, things have changed. What apartments cost right now, I can tell you what it was 16 years ago in this area. Okay, this apartment for like a one-bedroom with a bathroom was $795 a month. Now I think it's $1,495. Yeah, for the same apartment. So that's a big change. Okay, now the cost of living and all, just that is the difference. Just that. And these days, you have a lot more that you need. Like, people had a phone at home, they didn't have cell phones, so there's a cell phone charge. And who pays less than, say, between $50 and $100 at least for your cell phone? And if you have to buy a new cell phone, because it seems like every 2 years you have to buy a new one, or before they you know, you can't really, they're like obsolete practically. Not all of them, but yeah. You know, you have that charge on top of it. And then, you know, all the, you know, if you want to have your Wi-Fi at home, your cable TV, you know, and yeah, that package. And then you have your electricity's higher. And so on and so forth, you know. It's the cost of living, groceries, gas, everything. So in 20 years, they're not raising what people make, but they're hiring people who don't know, who really don't realize it. You know, what they're making, what they're making now is sometimes less than what people were making earning for the same kind of job 20 years ago. And the bad thing is they're doing a lot more these days. Since the downsizing, you know, that whole downsizing bit we went through, yeah, that was awful. That was bad. You know, they wanted one person to do the job of 5. They just reorganized the job. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. But like I say, you know, nowadays, find out. I really would, you know, be nice, find out to the person you're asking, like I said earlier, and find out what were they earning back then. What are they, you know, I don't think many people are going to tell you what they're earning now, okay? But, you know, yeah, that's kind of like in a way, it's like a taboo thing. You don't ask somebody, what are you earning now? You know, you might ask, what about ballpark should I expect to make? And that might be nice, you know, to some people, might not. Remember, people can be dangerous. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I have a lot more to talk about on these topics, but I do a variety on my channel now. I used to just do them on one topic, but yeah, I'm doing a variety now. A lot of my videos are about like narcissism or narcissistic behaviors I don't diagnose, narcissistic behaviors, histrionic behaviors, any cluster B kind of behavior, any kind of behavior. So that matter, toxic people, dysfunctional families, along this line. So it's a variety. Now, but anyway, if you want to subscribe to this channel, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, you can click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media if you would, and I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.